Welcome to the season finale of
Hey,
the
hey.
Backyard Blitz.
What's up, fellas?
How's it going, boys? What's going on? The draft was nuts, huh?
Yeah, man.
That's an
As
understatement.
advertised, draft was a little crazy. I don't know. I didn't even look at the mock draft to see if anybody got close or if we did well with it or not. But my guess would be no, considering we didn't even have some of the guys drafted in the first round.
I know. I know for a fact you, Drew, were not. And I was hoping that we would get kind of lucky with some of these at the end, and only Prophet kind of got lucky between us. But we'll talk about that just a little bit later on. But boys, how's your week been?
Who wants to start off?
I will.
Go ahead, Prophet.
I'll start off. I normally go third. I'll start first. It's been a crazy week. I started a cover band last week, and we named ourselves OCDC. we play all the hits, but we played them in alphabetical order. So, but everything's going to be good there. Look for us. We'll be on YouTube or I don't know, whatever one of these channels I could find and figure out how to get on.
Oh my God!
What part of the band are you in?
Oh hell, I play bass.
Bass.
Slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass.
Yeah. Wait. Bass is a guitar, right?
Yeah.
I play bass.
God.
I got 12 strings. Six of them are dangling, though. I don't know what the hell to do with them.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a pill for that one, Prophet. You know, if anybody can help you out there.
That's been my week.
Slick man, what do you got going on? How's your week been?
I mean, week 2, spring. I mean, we're getting better.
Go on.
We got our inter-squad scrimmage next Friday, the blue and gold game, and then the following week, that Thursday is our spring game, actual spring game.
Oh, nice.
So we've been getting better. We got better we're getting better this week versus the first week. Yeah, it's a little task. Nothing we can't overcome, but just not. I won't say it's not what I'm used to. It's kind of like I'm starting all over again, and not starting all over again with a new program, because it would be different if it was a new program and we didn't really have to rebuild it versus starting with a new program and basically have to rebuild it all over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Ricky, I will say that I'm envious of you, man, because I was talking to my guys tonight because I just walked in the door from the weight room, and like that's all we're allowed to do right now in New Jersey. Is the weight room, and I'm not even allowed to be on the board.
Do you have restrictions?
We're not even allowed to. I'm not even allowed to be on a whiteboard like talking football. And with the weight room, it has to be open to everybody. It's not like football specific. So nobody shows up other than the football team. But if they wanted to, I would have to allow that because I'm not allowed to have sport specific workouts until the end of the last spring championship, which isn't until June 14th or something like that. So I was telling the guys tonight, like, dude, I'm as much as the weight room is critical, like I'm just tired. Like I'm bored. I want to get out on the field. I want to start doing stuff. I want to see what you guys could do on the field. So in that respect, man, I'm envious of you, Rick, for sure. But I get what you're saying, man, about starting over and starting from scratch and kind of feeling everybody out and everybody learning your system and you learning how everybody else works. So but you guys definitely got it better than a lot of other states because I'm sitting up here. I can only watch these kids friggin' bench press so many times before I start losing my mind, you know.
Oh, but, I bet.
No, my week was good, man. I'm really weak. I'm like I took my boat I think we're going on like a month now to the shop. I still haven't heard back from them. I don't know what's going on, but I called them last week. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll get it. We should be getting to it this week." I called them last Monday, and I still haven't heard anything. Flounder season opened today. Like I want to get out there and start fishing. They got my freaking boat held hostage. I don't know what the hell's going on. That's been my week. I just can't stop thinking about it.
It's ready. They're not releasing it until you paid them.
No, it ain't ready because they didn't give me a quote yet. So I didn't give them the okay to do any work. So
knowing that you related to Prophet, when you started that story, I was like, joke's coming. I'm ready for it.
And then sounded in my own head.
That's how it sounded.
In my own head, I was like, "This sounds like a punchline," but it's really not.
It did. I was waiting for it.
I'm kind of boring tonight, so
no, you're good.
Yeah, no, it's and we'll get into it obviously, but the draft, man, like, it's crazy.
It is.
What have you been doing this week, BP? I know you're busy now with your new job and all.
Oh yeah, it's been slammed there. Just every day, just trying to get buy-in from people, being in the position I'm in, get to know everybody, setting up, my systems and processes the way that I want them done, basically having my culture at the site. And then it's, towards the end of soccer season too. So we're just rushing back from soccer practice, with my daughter. So it's wild, man. Slick, when you said spring football, I feel like it would be more like Idaho summer football in Florida with the weather wise. Like, are you guys dealing with 90 degrees right now?
Actually lately it's been humid and hot, but like we've been having like breeze, like cool, kind of like cool breezes. So no, seriously, like it's not like cold, you know what I'm saying? But it's not what I'm used to like right now. Like it's about to be May. Well, actually it is May. So like it's close to the summer, and we're like getting breezes if like the water is like down the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's
I'm sure I would take that breeze any day.
Oh, any day for sure.
The breeze that we get out here, man.
It's May 3rd, and I was out there in 4 layers today, and this hoodie being one of them because it only got up to like 53 degrees.
Oh my
It's been like that all week. It's been like that all week in New Jersey.
It's crazy here too.
That's wild.
This time of the year, we normally have our air conditioner on. As you can see in the back, I got my door open and my heat just kicked on. And I'm in a cutoff t-shirt tonight. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm loving it because I ain't got to run the air conditioner. But
BP, I will say that your face does look a lot better this week, and your hair is coming in nice.
It's coming in nice and even.
And it got a little cinched a couple weeks ago, but it looked better.
Oh, it did. And somehow all that happened, there's more gray hairs that popped out of that whole thing. I don't get it. I don't understand.
you burned away all the pigmentation, and now it's all just coming in.
It did. Now it's all just coming in. I'm going to be Gandalf the Gray before you know it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Jeez. Well, guys, we had a big week in sports as well, right? We got NBA playoffs. We got NHL playoffs starting to move to the next round. Playoffs? What did you guys see out there this last week that kind of caught your eye? We'll start with Drew.
The one thing that I saw was I guess there's some drama going on with the Sixers, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. They got some injuries. They're dealing with some injuries, but they were able to get out of the first round, which is a plus for them because they're prone to choking. But they're playing the Celtics. Well, they're actually playing right now. I know the Sixers were able to beat the Celtics the first game, and I can't remember one of their key guys is hurt though, and I can't remember who it is, but I don't know. Maybe this is the Sixers' year to make a run, and it's been a good year for Philly sports. You can't.
Yeah, that's true.
That man. The Phillies making a miraculous run to the World Series last year. Eagles going to the Super Bowl, and now the Sixers making a run deep into the NBA playoffs.
Wait, who the Eagles beat to go to the Super Bowl there, Slinger?
The fourth string quarterback of the 49ers.
Brock Purdy. But no, that's something going on. Another thing I want to talk about that has been kind of a hot topic the past couple of days in the state of New Jersey. All these rules are coming out. All these rule changes are coming out to high school sports in the state. And they passed a rule, actually 2 rules. What's today? Wednesday. They passed a rule Monday, I think, that allows high school students to freely transfer within the first 6 semesters of their high school career.
What?
So it used to be if you were a varsity if you got a varsity letter in a sport at a previous school and transferred, you had to sit 30 days. No matter when you transferred to the new school, you had to sit for 30 days at the new school. Now, that was bona fide change of address if you transferred for a change of address.
Sure.
If you transferred for athletic advantage, you had to sit the whole season because that's illegal in New Jersey. You can't go to a different school for an athletic advantage as long as you can prove it. Now,
does it change with like public and private schools?
Extra strict.
Even so, if you came from a private school and went to a public school, the rules still apply. The sit rule still applied. Now, if you went from a public school to a private school, I don't think that rule applied. But now they just passed this rule 2 days ago. It's a free transfer. You get one free transfer in the first 6 semesters of your high school career. So
it's almost like the college rule in a way.
It's turned New Jersey high school football into the friggin' transfer portal.
Yeah, that's how it's been in Florida. That's what I'm going to say. You guys are strict. Like, we can go wherever we want to go.
We got kids who now are can go wherever they want to go without penalty. There's no loyalty to a town or a school or growing up with your friends and going to school and going to play for that hometown school that it used to be such a sacred feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And now that is no more. Dude, I put a tweet out the other day. I think I deleted it, but sometimes I tweet stupid stuff and then I have to go back on it. But you got 8th grade kids posting their commitments to a high school.
Yep.
I'm so-and-so, and I'm blessed and excited and blessed to say I'm going to be spending the next 4 years at such and such high school. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? You're 12 years old.
Wild. That's wild.
You're 12, 13 years old. And
that's how it's been in Florida, Slick?
Yeah.
Just like
been
this?
Like that for a while. Like here, in order to transfer, so you have a deadline for school choice, meaning you can go wherever you want to go. If you meet that deadline, you put the school choice in. The only way you probably won't get accepted is if the school is overpopulated.
Yeah. Okay.
If the school isn't overpopulated, then they're most likely going to get in, and you'll have to have your own transportation.
And that counts from year to year. Like you can play 4 different high schools,
year to year.
If you want.
Wow. Like where I'm coaching at now too, we have the school choice now too. Where I'm coaching at, where I coached at before, where I still work, Cherry Hill, they don't have the school choice. So not every school is a choice school, meaning they offer classes that kind of out of ordinary a little bit or something. They offer programs that not every school offers. So we are a choice school, but this is on top of that.
Yeah, that's what ours is.
Because you could always go if you were, if you went to a choice school, you could always go there. This is on top of that. So I'm like, now, what if I live in this town and I want to go to the other town's high school? Do I have to have a change of address?
Jesus,
it's turned high school football into the Wild West. It's I don't think it's good. I don't personally think it's good.
Like
you said, building a program.
In my city, in Manatee County, they're real lenient with now. Don't get me wrong. In different cities in Florida, it's way more loose than it is what you're speaking of Jersey. But different counties, they some people kind of pay attention to what's going on. Really crack down. In my county, man, you might have a kid that might go to 4 schools in 4 years. And it's no penalty, it's no nothing, it's no anything, just because
that's wild.
For whatever reason they're trying to.
Do college recruiters take that into consideration? That
It depends on the talent.
If they can play, they can play.
It depends. Yeah, I was going to say it depends on the talent of the kid, because in some cases I've seen some kids where it has hurt them, but it's hurting them because their first 2 years they didn't play. Their third year, maybe they played a little bit, and then their 4th year it was kind of average. But I've also seen where a kid might transfer 3 different schools in 4 years and he was a dog. And at that point, it's okay, I understand he's switching from school to school, but now with the transfer portal and all this other stuff, it's kind of how can you know what I'm saying, punish or look at that high school kid for doing it when as soon as they get to college, everybody else is doing it now and it's accepted.
And promoting to do it.
And it's promoted. You know what I'm saying? So it's
just keep something sacred, man. We don't have
I agree with you.
You don't have to professionalize high school sports. I don't know, man.
Everything
what do you think the reason is for it though?
I just think it got to be too. I think
in New Jersey or Florida?
New Jersey, like
all over in reality.
I think the whole recruiting, like high school recruiting, coaches tampering and stuff, it got to be so out of control that the state finally threw up their hands and said,
"Okay,
we're done.
Here's the parameters." Then
exactly. Here's what's going to happen. We can't police it anymore. It is what it is, and it hurts the small schools. The big schools
really hurts the small guys. Schools.
Yeah. And it really benefits the private schools that have, they could give money out and stuff like that for scholarships.
Well, and then their locker rooms, what their stadium is, all of that is candy to a kid. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would think of it too, because when I was in high school, my sophomore year we were really good, but the rest of the time sucked, and I would have gladly went somewhere else potentially and played. But my coach I loved my coach, but at the same time, there would have been other programs I would wanted to go to.
My first year in Cherry Hill, we had a quarterback who was originally at Cherry Hill, transferred to a private school. I took over. He came back to Cherry Hill. He had to sit for the first 4 games because he was a varsity letter winner at the previous
I don't know
school.
if I could do that. I don't know if I could sit out games if I knew that. Like, and you're missing. Well, how many games you guys play down there? I think in Idaho we played 9 regular season.
10
games or something. So it's like half the season.
Playoffs. We played 10, not including playoffs. Okay. So he missed the first 4 games.
40% of the year. Yeah, that's wild.
But do you think that has anything to do with it, though? I mean, with high school sports now, like 20 years ago, ESPN was never involved in high school sports. Now,
the only high school sports I can remember was when LeBron James was playing in high school and they televised that stuff. Because I remember that, and I was like, how the hell is he driving around a Hummer? He's a freaking 17-year-old high school kid.
Yeah, before any of the money came.
Yeah,
but nowadays, they got football, at the start of the season, high school football on ESPN all the time, and there's money there, you know. So did New Jersey finally say, hey, we're going to allow this because we want a school other than maybe Don Bosco, to be representing us on ESPN? Yeah. I mean,
what's wild to think about though. What's wild to think about, and even think about college, right? The athletes that are in those postseason games, they get even more film, they get even more publicity, so to speak. If they're a good player, right? They get a few more games in the spotlight, how they play in those big games. In high school, I have to think that has something to do with it, but it's not all equal across all 50 states. Because I know in Idaho, I'm almost positive, unless it's drastically changed in the last year or two, there's none of that moving around from school to school. That's pretty sacred, that spot. But it also means there's private schools like Bishop Kelly here in Boise. They can actively recruit. They're a private school, but you have to have a certain GPA and all this stuff. But they're always in the state tournament and all that stuff. But my point is, let's say you have a college prospect from New Jersey who can go wherever he wants, can play in those big games. That's a good athlete versus somebody who can't, I'll just throw myself in there, not saying I was the world's greatest athlete, but I played in my senior year. Our team sucked. So and let's say we're even, one player is probably going to get a little bit more recognition than the other one just based off of circumstance, right? Is that kind of how that would work? It's
tough. It's a tough conversation, man, because like you said, and where you're at, it's sacred to play for the school where you live. When I was growing up, dude, when I was growing up, my biggest goal was to play for my town, and somebody in this chat ripped me out of that in 7th grade and moved me to a different freaking town, and then made me play for another school. But no, it turned out to be a good move. But what I'm saying, you guys know I'm messing around, but dude. Play where you're at. Play where you rest your head and have pride in it. But call me crazy.
Well, the biggest name that comes to mind, for me anyhow, back then was Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco played 3-4 towns over from where we lived. And
no kidding.
He was in high school. He was phenomenal. But the team he played for, Audubon High School, they sucked. They were terrible. I mean, he threw the ball. It was
Audubon High School? That was their name?
Audubon.
Audubon. Gotcha.
Audubon, yeah. And, but he, as far as I know, and hearing stories after, he never thought about going anywhere else. He wanted to play for the program that he grew up with.
Old school. That's crazy. Well, what else is going on in sports? We got the Kentucky Derby this weekend. Is it the Kentucky Derby?
The Derby, yeah.
The Derby. You wearing your big hat there, Prophet, and you go make some of these bets?
No, I don't. I won't be wearing the hat, but I'll have a couple of mint juleps, I believe. Yeah,
I heard about those. I heard about that event in general. I heard that's like an event like you definitely want to be a part of at least once in your life. I keep hearing that.
Well, you're not too far from the Florida Derby down there in Miami, are you?
Didn't know we had a Florida Derby.
Yeah, and have every year in Miami in March. I think it's either February or March.
Deal too.
That's a big event too. Yeah, there's going to be 150.
You said the Florida Derby is
there. What's that?
I was talking to Drew. Drew, you said the Florida Derby is a big deal?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Oh, I've never heard of it. That's crazy.
I guarantee you go down there and people be dressed up just like they are at the Kentucky Derby, just not on a bigger scale. Like
I don't know. Down in Miami, where you might have some Versace shirts with some Cuban links and chest hair showing. It might look a little different down that way.
I'm bartending the party on Saturday. I got a gig.
You got Miguel placing bets over there.
It's a derby. I'm doing a derby party, and
hey, put me down for three. Put me down for three. That's right back there.
That was actually a good impression.
Man,
my signature drink on Saturday is a mint julep, so I'll be making them all weekend.
What I got to know because now 2 references with it. What's in this mint julep? Because it sounds delicious.
It's muddled mint, bourbon, whiskey, whatever. A little bit of simple syrup. I use a sugar cube. I muddle.
Oh, that's a different kind of muddle in there.
I muddle mint in a sugar cube with a little bit of simple syrup.
You pound it in there really good.
Oh yeah, just pound.
The bourbon
it's bourbon and then a little splash of just club soda on top to give it a little fizz, man.
Oh, okay.
Bourbon is the trick, though. The Woodford Reserves.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's the best bourbon to put in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're the sponsors of the Derby, so that's what they say.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, boys, we got the draft to take care of here, but first,
Jeff Lamb's hot.
I know he's ready to go. He's all ready to talk about his Steelers, man. Trust me. We were texting back and forth over the weekend. But first, we got to announce our mock draft challenge winner. We had 167 entries, which is the most that we've ever had. So thank you.
167 entries.
167.
Thank you, Blitz Nation.
Golf clap.
Thank you.
Golf
clap.
And if you were able to win this one, holy smokes, good for you.
Holy smokes. So what was cool is to see all that. What sucked was to go through all of them.
Sure.
That was wild.
I forgot to ask you, like, what's that process like, BP?
One by one.
Every single entry.
Yeah, because they're not all the same. So, so they're all different. Some sent, actually, most of them sent from the PFF, right? So I had a picture, so I had to go one by one and enter it into Excel. And then other ones who just did, I could copy and paste it and then put in a little formula to go by.
Use a formula in Excel?
Yeah. Absolutely. So we got a winner. Jake Berry won. I believe he's from Texas, if I'm not mistaken. But congratulations, you won our mock draft challenge with 167 entries. That's huge. He got 9 correct.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Like that's That's massive.
In that draft, I had draft, that's great.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So give me your information and we'll get you taken care of.
I had said 12 or 13 was going to win it when it started, and as it was going on, I'm like maybe 6 now. It was crazy.
It got wild. It got wild, and as you go down, they're worth more. So when you hit some of those later rounds, like they're worth buku points. So, and I think those are the hardest ones to get because you don't know what's going to happen up at the top. So that was awesome. So that brings us to our next topic, main topic of the night: winners and losers of the NFL draft this weekend. There were some teams that were moving around, some teams that were really active that filled some holes that they needed, got some big high-profile players at some spots. So we'll start off with Drew. Who's your winner of the NFL draft? What team stood out to you the most?
and I apologize because I know we didn't talk about this beforehand. So I apologize, boys, when I take your choice, because if you don't say the Philadelphia Eagles, I think you might be lying to yourself.
They crushed it, man.
The Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, they're ready to put friggin' a statue of Howie Roseman right next to the damn Rocky statue right now on the stairs at whatever they call it.
What's the Rocky Steps. I just call them the Rocky
Steps. What's the name of the place? Declaration of Independence or
the Liberty Bell.
The Liberty Bell.
Yeah, one of those stairs. I forget. Honestly, I'm drawing a blank. That's terrible.
Somebody get Drew a history book, please.
Dude, they're ready to crown Howie Roseman the king of the city. I mean, you go out and you get Carter, or who was it? Jalen Carter, right? That's his name.
Yep.
That from Georgia. Well, most of their picks came from Georgia.
Yeah, I was going to say the next statue that they should get is of the Bulldog right next to Rocky because they're the Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Like 2 last year?
2 last year, 2 this year.
Yeah,
so and add another one, DeAndre Swift, because they made that trade. So they got
my thunder here. I mean, I prepped for friggin' a couple minutes of talking. So you go out, first of all, you get Jalen Carter, who a lot of people are saying was the best overall player in the entire draft amidst his legal woes and all the stuff that was going on off the field with him. A lot of people said that he was the best pound for pound player in the draft. All right. And then they go out, they get another first round pick in Smith, who is we talked about being a great edge rusher.
I thought he'd go a lot higher. I can't believe he was there.
I don't know how he dropped to 30 or whatever.
I mean, I don't know how he dropped to 30, but for the Eagles to be able to grab him, dude. So now you're talking about Carter and Smith in the first round. That's already an A grade. And then you come out. What?
Nothing.
Oh, don't interrupt me then, Prophet. All right, I'm on a roll.
Hey, I'm sorry. You know what? You never were any good at history going through school. So, but you were great on dates. Yeah.
What the hell was the name of the stairs? I can't remember the name of the steps. Anyway, so yeah. They go out, they fill a need from, they draft the offensive lineman from Alabama. And then the pick that got me was the Ringo pick in the 4th round. Another Georgia prospect, Keely Ringo, at corner, who fell to the 4th round somehow, and they were
crazy
ecstatic they were able to get him that late. And then the fact that they were able to get DeAndre Swift on top of that, dude, the Eagles killed it. Roseman killed it. We were all questioning what they were doing in the offseason, and it came to fruition this past weekend.
Absolutely. What do you got, Slick? Who was they had a great draft. Don't get me wrong. And the whole thing about this is that we'll see. It's our first initial reaction, right? Like everybody wants to crown players. Oh, you're going to this situation. He's going to be a definite Hall of Famer. That rarely happens, right? That you say that happens and then they go on to have that career, but looks really good. Philadelphia added some players with some, they added some good players and some holes that they needed replaced from guys that they lost in free agency. So I thought that was huge. Who you got, Slick?
It's a toss up between my Chargers and the Ravens, but I think I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Okay.
They gave my dog the bag.
We didn't even talk about that.
Right. We didn't even talk about that. Absolutely. That was huge. That happened right. Yeah. Get your flowers, bro. Get your flowers.
They gave my dog the bag. They signed OBJ. Then in the draft, you go get Zay Flowers, which is somebody to stretch it anyways. It picked up 2 receivers, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might have been 1. They got some key guys on defense, and you still get a healthy. Hopefully, Bateman comes back healthy. I mean, I know he.
Yeah, well, and then they bring in OBJ, right? So they have a pretty decent receiving core. It seems
they only drafted one receiver. They only drafted one receiver.
It was one receiver.
Yeah, but we talked about him last week, man. About being a vertical threat and being able to stretch the field. So maybe.
So I'm good. They got key pieces on defense. Like I said, you got OBJ. Bateman comes back. You add Flowers. You still got Andrews. Both backs come back, Gus and Dobbins. And my dog got his bag. So
and you got your quarterback locked up for the next 5 years, which I said it in the group chat. I said
you give him some weapons.
Here.
Give him some weapons to play around with on the perimeter.
I will say it here. The Ravens front office is dumber than I gave him credit for. You got to be absolutely kidding me. $52 million a year for Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
He's worth every penny.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. We'll come back to me in November.
I'm going to still say he's worth every penny.
No, it's going to be more January to see where he's at. That's what I want to see. I want to see him get in January and play some big-time football games because I honestly want to see him in those games. You know, and I think he deserves to be in there. He needs to stay healthy. And he needs to get that far. But talent-wise, he's 101, right? He's 101. Prophet, who is your winner of the draft over the weekend?
Let me preface that. Go back to the Lamar deal. I mean, the precedent that was set by giving him that much money. I mean, this is why normal average people can't afford to go to the stadiums. I mean, $55 million to a guy that hasn't played a full year in 3 years. I mean, and I'm not saying anything again about his talent. I'm just saying the guy hasn't played a full year, and they made him the highest paid quarterback in the league. What does the next salary want now?
Oh, and it's going to go up because the TV deals and all this. The NFL is winning the sports war in the United States of America, obviously by far margins.
I agree, though. They're driving the fans out of the game. It's not you can't go to a game anymore. You can't go. The only time I've been to a football game in the last 3 years is when the tickets have been gifted to me. You know, You can't afford to go to a game.
I love it. Before he got paid this year. Before he got paid, Deshaun Watson was the highest paid quarterback at one, wasn't he? At one point,
he was, and so I think Mahomes. So and that's kind of the way it works, right? Like,
he didn't play last year.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything playoff wise, and yet they still. So what are we talking about?
And if we were talking about this last year, if we were having this conversation in April of last year, then it would be the same thing.
None of the quarterbacks that got the bag recently deserve
supply and demand. There's not 32 human beings capable of starting effectively for NFL teams.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what it comes down to.
None of the quarterbacks that got the bag this year deserve it. But
Hurts, you don't think deserves it?
He did.
But he only did 1 year.
He did 1 year.
Because literally, this
I'm
talking about he's going to be the guy.
1 more year than Lamar's done it, but
no, he hasn't. He's been more consistent than Lamar. No, he has not. He hasn't even played more years.
No, I said it's just 1 more year that he's played better than Lamar. That's all.
Let the man.
Lamar has plenty of
do this for a couple of years and then pay him.
He's been doing it since he's been in the NFL.
I'm saying Hurts.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
I'm saying Hurts. Let him, but then I'm going against you too with Lamar because he hasn't been on the field for the last 3.
It's hard to be on the field when you're the only weapon on offense.
Here's what happens: is when you don't have a quarterback, you lose your job. GMs, coaches, all that stuff. That's why these guys get paid because everybody's job is on the line to have a guy. If you don't have a guy, you're picking at the top end of the draft, and you're hoping you get a guy. And even that's been a crapshoot. So that's why these guys get paid. However, I think it hurts your team's chances because they take up a huge percentage of the salary cap. So it depends on how it's structured. Now, Jalen Hurts, the way his contract was structured, very team friendly. I think this year's like a $6 million hit, next year's $9 million, and it goes up as the cap goes up. So it's depending on how it's structured, I think. But overall, I want to see it. It's tough when you see a guy get paid like that, but he hasn't really done much. But I think that's just where we're at with how the contracts are now, how that 5th-year option. And I mean, quarterbacks don't have an opportunity to really prove themselves early on, especially if they're in a bad situation. So good for him for getting it. Let's see what happens. Now, Prophet, who's your winner of this draft?
Well, I'm going with the team that is in the same division as Lamar. I'm happy for Baltimore. We're finally going to get a shot to see what Lamar can do because, like you said, Slick, they finally put some weapons around him. So let's see what he can do. But Pittsburgh, I think, had a great draft. Pittsburgh is doing what it took Baltimore 4 years to do, and that's take care of their quarterback. They got a O line, they got a tight end. They had a great draft. I would have liked to have seen them try and get another receiver, but I think the Steelers, they're saying we're going to be all in with Kenny Pickett right now, and if he can't do it, at least unlike Jackson, who hasn't had any supporting cast for a couple of years, he's going to have a supporting cast, and if he can play, he's going to be okay. If he can't, they'll be looking for a quarterback in a couple of years. But
absolutely, I agree with you with Pittsburgh. Right there, at number 14, they get a tackle, Broderick Jones, and there was a lot of different ways that they could have gone. Right, so they protect their guy, then they go and get a guy up front, defensive tackle. But the one with Pittsburgh that I thought was the coolest thing, guys, you can't write this. Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. You can't write this script any better. Maybe just a little bit is that he went in the first round instead of the second round. But the fact that his dad was an all-pro there, like really a legend in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and then he gets drafted to the same team that his father had played for. Yep. I thought that was so cool. Like that was pretty badass. And in the mix of all that, Jeff's mentioned it here, they traded for Allen Robinson as well. I don't know what that's going to add up to because he's kind of been all over the place, right? Since the Bears, or actually since Jacksonville, went to the Bears, then out there with the Rams. But I think it's super cool. But
if nothing else, he's going to put leadership in the WR room, because them receivers are young in Pittsburgh.
George Pickens, man, he's a guy, and I think he can learn from Allen Robinson a little bit.
That guy's amazing.
Do they still have Johnson? Johnson's still there too, right?
Yeah. So they got some weapons.
I mean,
you guys see the okay.
And then they ended up getting Washington from Georgia.
Yeah,
the tight end.
A lot of Georgia players going to some of these teams, man.
Yeah, well, I get 14-0, top defense, top offense.
The same Georgia defense that gave up 40 to Alabama, but we're just gonna forget about that, I guess. But on the same thing as the Porter thing, did you see the dude from the Cowboys, the scout from the Cowboys who drafted his son?
That was pretty cool.
I didn't see that.
His son's 5'5", though. I feel like that was a little home.
I heard he was a legitimate running back.
Yeah, wasn't Darren Sproles like about the same size? Yeah, like 5'5",
same size.
Deuce Vaughn.
Like the Cowboys in like the 5th round or something drafted a running back from Kansas State, and the kid's dad. Yeah, the kid's dad was actually the scout for the Cowboys, and
that part I didn't know.
They let his dad make the phone call.
He was crying and everything.
Yeah, they let the dad make the phone call. He was like, he was like, hey, buddy, do you want to? How would you feel about coming to work with me next week? And he was like, oh, I would love it.
That makes me tear up just thinking about it.
That was pretty sick. We'll have to find the video, man. But
I didn't know. Cool. I didn't know his dad was on the scout. I know that the back that you're talking about from K-State, he's good though. He is good. He did have a nice career.
Like they legitimately liked him, but it was cool that they let the dad draft him, and then they let the dad turn the ticket in for his son and all. That was pretty
cool. He's probably the best player the Cowboys drafted this year.
Yeah, I mean, well, don't go there yet, Prophet.
Sorry.
So for my winner, so you took mine because I had the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they had a hell of a draft, but let's go to the shiny new toys. Let's go with the Houston Texans because I thought they played that first round phenomenally. I'm not sold on CJ Stroud, but the fact that Bryce Young went first overall, there was a way that they had to play this, right, to get the guys that they wanted. So they were sitting at 2. They had the Cardinals at 3, and then they were sitting at 12. And there was a way that they could have botched this whole strategy completely, and that would have been by taking Will Anderson at 2 because Arizona was basically shopping their pick for, I think, a whole month for people that might have wanted to come up and get a quarterback. So that by them selecting Stroud at 2, basically got rid of those phone calls, at least a majority of those. Got rid of all the competition. And then they said, Arizona, hey, let's make a deal. We're still wanting to trade up. They traded up and they go get Will Anderson. So they get 2 guys at 2 and 3. I thought it was a really aggressive move to get, your franchise quarterback and get a franchise defensive player, 2 cornerstone players right there. Now, will it pan out that way? We'll see. But I thought it was a really aggressive move, and they played it awesomely to get those 2 guys.
That was one of the highlights of the draft, because I said it last Wednesday. We all did, really, that we all felt that Arizona was moving out of 3.
Sure.
But nobody
Had the Texans
anticipated
moving up like
Houston getting the third also.
Yeah, second and third pick. No, I thought that was awesome. And if you didn't pick them, I was gonna bring them up as like an honorable mention, because they're in every argument as having one of the best, if not the best draft of the weekend, and it just showed. I mean, Prophet, we were texting about it, guys. Like Prophet's been calling it, man.
Yeah,
D'Amico's going to have himself a little legitimate shot. If they can groom this QB and get things going in the right direction. The Texans have got to, they can't get much worse.
Well, they picked up one of Slick's receivers too, man, in Dell, right? You were talking about Dell last
you were high
week.
on Dell. And they end up getting
they got him, I think, in the 4th round or so.
From Houston.
They had a great draft.
He'll stretch the field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now my thing is, they don't need to play Stroud right away, and I would highly recommend not putting him out there first week. They still have Davis Mills, whatever his name is.
Mills, yeah.
He's been a decent starter, so I don't think that they need to put CJ Stroud in right away if he's not ready. Because sometimes I think there's a lot of that pressure. You pick up high in the draft, you have to put a guy out there, and I think you can ruin a quarterback that way. And I don't know what would have happened with Zach Wilson had they sat him, but I think early on he could have benefited by watching a little bit. I know Trey Lance has benefited a little bit, and we'll see what the product is afterwards. Trevor Lawrence, we talked about him having some bumps and bruises, kind of going through the fire a little bit, and now started to turn the corner this year. Was that year 3 for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I really think that you can ruin a quarterback by putting him in a bad situation and having him get sacked 50 to 60 times and losing and then coming out on the other side. There's not these Peyton Mannings that throw 20 plus interceptions in their first year and come out in the Hall of Fame career. Right. So I think you got to be a little bit delicate how you go with it, but the patience is not there what it used to be. But I don't think that they have to put him in right away. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they play this out, because they don't have to, but they can. They need to sell tickets. So see what their owner says. But that's wild.
In that division, OBP, I mean,
it's up for grabs for almost anybody, right?
Sure, and you don't want to get 4 games out.
Sure.
Early on, that's because then you're not going to get there. And, that's the only thing. I honestly think he's going to be on the field day one. I don't agree that he is going to be ready to be on the field, but I think he will be on the field day one.
Well, it's that debate, right? Of, hey, let's go see what he has, or let's see what he has in camp and then kind of wait, because there's arguments on both sides of that fence. I'm curious to see what DeMeco Ryans, a defensive-minded coach, does with it.
Right.
It reminds me of that movie, Rookie of the Year. You remember that movie?
Is that the one with Quaid?
Yeah, so you got no. Rookie of the Year was the kid who broke his arm for the Cubs and goes out and now he's a rocket launcher.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody's going to Wrigley Field to see Chet Steadman, throw the ball 85 miles an hour off the pitching mound. Everybody's going to Wrigley Field to see hen, row, hen, Gardner. There ain't nobody going to the Texans game that wants to see damn Davis Mills play quarterback. They want to go. They want to see their shiny new toy. And I guarantee you, 5/3/2023, fast forward to when we're doing the show in the fall, I guarantee you that Stroud is the starting quarterback from day one.
He might be.
So too.
He might be. I'm just saying he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. That's all I'm saying.
He doesn't have to be.
That's all I'm saying.
You know how that goes. He's an investment, money-wise, business-wise. They going to.
Before we move on to our losers, you got to give. I want to give an honorable mention to the Giants. I think the New York Giants had a great draft, man. They go out and they get Deonte Banks, the cornerback from Maryland, with their first-round pick, who I think is arguably one of the best corners in the draft. You're talking about a dude who runs a 4.3, 40, 42-inch vertical jump, and he's over 6 foot tall. So you got a good, solid corner. in the first round, then you go get a John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt we talked about on the show.
That's what we did
from Minnesota.
His
And
name's
then
my
in the
name,
third
too.
round,
He's-
they come out and they get Jalen Hyatt, who's a good receiver from Tennessee. And dude, I think that the Giants, they're up there. The NFC East was weird, man. You had 2 really good drafts and 2 really bad drafts. But I think the Giants just wanted to give a little recognition to them before we move on to the losers.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're giving out honorable mentions, let's not forget that team that hoisted the trophy this past season.
Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they needed a edge rusher and they needed a wide receiver. And
They
didn't-
honestly, to the point where you like them, right? Like when they start having success again, but now they're turning that corner of I'm sick of them.
yeah,
And now,
they're
you know what I
becoming
mean? They're
dynasty.
starting to turn that corner for me.
Nobody likes a dynasty. Yeah,
Right.
It's not the 70s.
Dynasty.
Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And
That's the
all
only
that.
one I like.
Yeah,
That's the only one I like.
It's funny.
I have to throw out the honorable mention, right? I have to give it to the Rams. I really tip my hat to the Rams, but I just thought it was really cool. They end up drafting Stetson Bennett, and rarely is it a situation where you have a veteran quarterback in there and they draft somebody that's also a veteran that he can kind of sit there and learn. That Matt Stafford can learn from Stetson Bennett. You can see.
Where did Hooker wind up going? Hendon Hooker.
Minnesota. No, Detroit.
Lions, Detroit. Yeah.
Lions.
Yeah.
Talk about the
My
Lions.
buddy-
They had a nice little day, man. The
It wasn't
Lions.
bad.
We're touching on
Lions
everybody
picked up some-
tonight, boys.
Yeah,
My
Lions picked up some
buddy
good stuff.
Matt was really pissed because I think he really wanted Hooker on his team for the Raiders, but the Lions snagged him. I think it was a couple picks right before, so he was pretty pissed about that.
The Lions go out and they get Gibbs from Alabama with their first pick, and then they deal Swift. That allows them to deal Swift to the Eagles.
Sure. Yeah,
And then,
that was wild.
They got
wild. I
my
was
boy
like,
too. They
don't
got my
they
boy
have-
Branch. I had a Branch as a top 10 pick. They got him in this late in the second round or
that
middle
Detroit
of the second
backfield
round.
is going to be pretty nuts, right? They got Gibbs. Is it Gibbs? And then they have Montgomery.
Yeah.
And then they had Swift at the end of it. So they end up getting some draft capital back for Swift, letting him
We
go
get
to the
nothing
Eagles.
for him.
The Eagles needed a guy, and I think they were waiting to see if Robinson could drop or Gibbs drop, and neither one of them
Neither
went
one
to,
of them
went
did.
to them. So
I
then
was
they had to
shocked
make a
see
move.
them
That's
both
wild.
go so high.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
NFC nonetheless.
The Eagles were taking Robinson number 10.
I think they were too if it wasn't for the
If
Falcons.
he got past
Exactly.
Atlanta,
That's
No,
what I
don't think
thought.
so.
Yeah.
I think they were.
No.
How can you pass up on a talent like that, man? Yeah, Atlanta couldn't. Atlanta needs so much, and
Yep.
yeah,
They haven't had a guy really since Jamal Anderson. I know that they had remember DVD back in the day, Dunn, Duckett, and Vic or something like that.
No, they had Freeman.
Sounds
Okay,
like
that's right. Freeman.
Sounds like a lawyer firm.
They did. Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the losers. Drew, I know that you're probably excited about it, but I'm fired up, ready to come at you if you come at me.
I'm not
So-
coming at you. I don't have enough ammo for that one. No, my loser goes to NFC East. I go to the Washington Commanders. The Commanders. Just an underwhelming draft. They had one job in this draft after the whole Carson Wentz debacle was to go out and get a quarterback that could lead them to the promised land that they could sink their teeth into and they could call the franchise quarterback. And they didn't. They went out and got a defensive back with the 16th overall pick, and they didn't draft a quarterback at all. So now they're telling you that they're running
Sam
they're
Howell.
gonna Sam Howell. You're talking about not selling tickets. There ain't
We're talking
nobody
about
coming to
selling
see
the
Sam.
team.
new
Right.
ownership too.
There's
Yeah,
nothing.
Magic Johnson
There's
has his hand in
nothing.
the mix.
There's nothing for the Commanders to be excited about, and they had the opportunity to go get Levis, and not that talk about that. They had to get opportunity to get Levis. They had the opportunity to get Hooker. One of those two guys to kind of try and build their future around, and it's just nothing to write home about. And it's just it's typical Washington Commander, boring. Nothing. That's how
Ron Rivera.
And there's layers to it, right? Like that's a great pick for a loser. Their draft was horrible. They're getting ready to sell the team, and then right before the draft, I think it might have been the day before or even the day of, they announced that they're not picking up Chase Young's 5th-year option, which means you have another franchise guy that they had drafted. Wasn't he the first-round pick or second?
I think he was first.
Not that long ago. But now he was basically on the trade block for the draft, I would assume. But now, like, what do you hang your hat on in Washington?
Nothing.
Sam Howell?
There's nothing.
Decent
There's
defense?
nothing to get excited about in Washington, and I feel bad because I know a lot of Washington fans because I went to school in that area, but I feel bad for you if you're a fan of the Washington Commanders because you got nothing, man. You got nothing to be excited about.
It's a shame. It's a shame because they do have a pretty decent offensive supporting cast.
They do.
And, their defense is good, but we're talking, the outside. Yeah. I mean, they got good receivers, they got good running backs, and
yeah.
I don't know.
They just need a trigger man.
Ron Rivera is going to get fired after the season. Mark my words, because
been fired already.
This. Yeah. And I like Ron Rivera. Man. I like him as a coach, as a person. I like him. But I don't know, and this is why I think it's so important to be really lockstep with the GM on, you need, if you have a chef, you got to have the guy with the right mindset buying the groceries. And I don't know if that's happening there. I think it's pretty obvious it's not happening. But it's same
with coaches, BP. I mean, it's like, and I can't say across the board because that's not the truth. But defensive coordinators that are good defensive coordinators typically don't make good head coaches. I mean, they play, everything they do is defensive minded
and conservative.
And
conservative.
It's an offensive league.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, great. So, and I don't think Washington had a whole lot of picks either, but okay, let's stack our defense up so nobody can score on us. But if we give up 17. We ain't going to win anyhow because we can't score but 6.
Sure.
It's like,
only way I could get slightly behind it, and I'm not for this, by the way, I'm just going to say this, is if there was some sort of commitment that was made that was like, we really like the crop of quarterbacks next year, and we don't think we're going to be that good. And we don't love a guy this year. So let's see what happens with Howell. Maybe he turns out to be, a steal. But if he doesn't, we're in good position next year. But I'm not a fan of that because you're not guaranteed anything, right? You're not guaranteed anything.
And the fans, you talk about hard-earned money, dude.
Exactly.
People are out there friggin' breaking their backs to make ends meet so they can afford to go to one of your games. And you're going to put a subpar product out in the field. It's a slap in the face to the friggin' fan base. It's a slap in the face to the league, and they should be embarrassed of themselves.
I love when he gets fired up like that.
That's why I like the Texans last year.
Right.
I mean, they're playing
shit show.
That final week of the year. They're playing for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And what do they do? They go out and they win. It was great.
And then
lost out on the Bryce Young sweepstakes.
Have 2 picks in the first 3 or 2 of the first 3 picks anyway.
It worked out for him. Slick, who was your loser of the draft?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Get him.
Good loser.
Hey, I know this gives you a little bit of happiness, though. I know this.
I don't know. It's just, they just keep finding ways to just make me continuously not like them. Like, I don't know. I've never liked the Bucs, but like when Tom Brady was the quarterback, I would watch myself watching them. It's like, okay, the Bucs might be, you know what I'm saying? Okay, they got Tom Brady, Super Bowl bound, playoff bound. Okay, I won't root for him, but at the same time, I'm gonna root for him because it's a home team.
Right. Okay.
But now that Brady's gone, they went back to their old ways, drafting long snappers and place kickers and people that don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to me. When Tom Brady was there, he demanded X, Y, and Z, and they made sure they made it happen. Right. Now that he's gone, they're just like getting people just to put on a roster.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do themselves any favors at the quarterback position
at all.
No,
they didn't even draft.
They did get Kancey. Yeah, your boy.
Yeah, they got him.
They did get him, but again.
But that's the thing. Like
they had need after need after need, right?
Exactly.
Offensive line, all across the board, from quarterback or whatever. Did they end up drafting the quarterback?
No, they didn't draft the quarterback.
Jesus Christ!
They got Trask and they got Mayfield on a 1-year deal.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, Lord, but that one was worth it. Okay, that was bad. Like, there had to, like, there's Levis sitting there, right? You could take a flyer on him, and I feel bad for that guy. How awkward was that slide,
God.
by the way?
It was about as awkward as he is. I didn't know the dude. I didn't see the you said he eats bananas the wrong way. I didn't realize he put mayonnaise in his coffee.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I didn't realize he put. You didn't see that clip?
I haven't seen that. There's so many weird things. I lost track.
Black coffee and squeezed mayonnaise into it and stirred it up and drank it.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yep.
He's a weird dude, man.
I just have to ask, and we'll say it here on air for everybody to hear. Do you think it's real or do you think it's BS?
No, I think he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, dude's weird.
I think he's weird, man.
Strange bird.
Strange guy. Weird guy, Ace. Weird guy.
Oh, my God. That was wild. Okay, Prophet, loser of the draft. Who you got, man?
Okay, well, this is...
Strange guys.
This is going against what we just had a 5-minute conversation about on the prior segment. My loser of the draft was the Detroit Lions. And you guys all think they did well. I mean,
Hater.
Yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
Because I'm looking away from the screen to look so that I know what I'm talking about here. But Jahmyr Gibbs, you got DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery on your team, and with the 12th pick, you take Jahmyr Gibbs when you have so many other needs. Now, for that pick, they got a fourth round. They got a 4th round pick for DeAndre Swift. I mean, to me, the Eagles got a steal there.
Yeah.
Linebacker Jack Campbell with the 2nd pick in the 1st round. I mean, Campbell's a good linebacker, but there were so much better talent out there. They could have taken the kid from Utah that Buffalo took, Kincaid.
Yeah.
They took a tight end in the 2nd round, and they get a backup tight end. Not a backup tight end, but I mean, Laporte is okay. He's not Kincaid or Meyer. They could have taken the tight end with their 2nd pick. Brian Branch, that was a steal. I'll give them that.
Yeah, I don't know how he fell so low.
Hendon Hooker. I said it last week. I said it all draft season here. I honestly thought he was the best quarterback in this draft. And he goes to Detroit. So I should be saying good for Detroit. Well, no, because now they're talking about freaking extending Goff's contract.
Yeah.
So what the hell good is Hooker going to do?
Yeah, he didn't play all that bad, but you're right. I don't think he's the future there in Detroit. He played like it last year.
Last year he did. Prior to, not the year before, not so much. Right. Okay. Right. But if they extend his contract and they give him guaranteed money and he's looking for 55 plus, then Hooker's going to be a perennial. He'll be a Jordan Love or an Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre.
Well, to be fair, just a little bit for it. He probably needs some time to develop a little bit
and heal.
But at the same time, I get what you're saying. In Detroit, they were 1 game from making the postseason. Yeah. And the city of Detroit is frothing at the mouth to be in the postseason ahead of the Green Bay Packers, which, by the way, we know that we don't know what we have in Green Bay right now, right?
Sure.
We don't know what we have in Chicago, and we sure as hell don't know what's going on in Minnesota. If they were frauds all last season, in my opinion. So Detroit's right there. And it's like they made some of these moves where I get what you're saying. I feel like they filled needs, but there was not one guy other than maybe the running back and I even felt that was a little bit early potentially.
Absolutely.
But there wasn't one guy that you said, "Hey, here's our freaking flag and this is our draft and we're coming after you." There wasn't a statement that was made really with that. I don't think.
I didn't even think about it.
That's the bad part. Like Gibbs, he's a good running back, and I'm only making this assessment based on what the professionals, are saying. But each pick that they made, it was like there was 6 guys of need higher than them.
Sure.
And they went with Now
It was like they were hell bent on that guy no matter what. Like the draft day movie, right? Where he puts the paper in his pocket, and I can't remember what the guy's name, but he says, "This guy, no matter what." It was almost like that. Like he's there, we'll get him now, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, and it could work out. Right? It could work out.
Something,
but it could not.
Mac was his name.
Vontae Mac. Vontae Mac.
I
I think that's what it was.
I still would have liked to have seen Kincaid in Detroit, not Buffalo, because that was I don't want to steal any. I don't know where you're going, so I won't say anything.
You're fine. I have a very controversial one, I think, and I don't think this is one that people are talking about. But mine is the New York Jets, and here's why: they get Rodgers, okay, and they make that so, and they're right there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're a bad football team right now, because I do think that they're going to compete this year. But I think they had an opportunity to get even better, and I think that they missed on it. And here's why: they were sitting right 2 picks right under Green Bay, right? And Green Bay picked up Iowa edge rusher Lucas Van Ness, and I'm thinking, oh wow, you can get Jackson Smith and Jigba, which by the way, Aaron Rodgers had been. His gripe in Green Bay was that we didn't have a lot of weapons. You're not drafting weapons or whatever. There's a guy right there. I know that you have Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb just signed there. By the way, I feel like that's a little bit weird now. Maybe once cool follow your guy.
That Cobb signed there.
Yeah, that Cobb signed there. Like, get over it, man. You can't play with any other quarterback. Is that what you're saying? Anyway, but they could have got him, which would have added to the group of Garrett Wilson, Lazard, and Corey Davis. That would have been a hell of a receiving core. They could have gone after a tight end potentially there that would have been high up on the draft, like the Meyer or what's his name, Kincaid, the guy from Utah. Instead, they went after a guy that really wasn't that highly ranked, that I thought was going to fall at the bottom of the first round, even in the second round, in Will McDonald the fourth. Like, that one was a head scratcher. I felt like they could have added to that offense, or even gone after a corner that was there to go alongside of Sauce Gardner and really made it tough there in the AFC with all these quarterbacks, right? I get going after the pass rusher, but I don't think Will McDonald was one of those that was so highly rated that you pick him up there at 15.
Nolan Smith went 30.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so for me, and the way that they kind of went after it, yes, they upgraded their offensive line. They picked up Joe Tippmann. They got Pitts, Carter Warren. But I just felt like there was a guy right there. They could have made that statement, like, bam, and another one, DJ Khaled, this shit, and went after another guy. And they didn't. They went after a guy that was really towards the end, at least in my assessment, towards the bottom of the first round. And I feel like they missed. Yes, they got Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what happens, but why wouldn't you want to give that guy another weapon? That's why he left Green Bay. Why wouldn't you want to shore up your pass defense a little bit more and get another lockdown corner on the outside and make it tough? Because you got to go against Buffalo twice a year. You got to go against Miami twice a year. So I felt like they missed there, and for that reason, I'm making them my loser.
Like you said, it's an interesting pick, and I didn't think much of it. But when I look at it and break it down, you got a good point. There was a lot of better players at that position that they could have gone after. So, but like you said, you let it off with they're not a bad football team.
Yeah,
because
not a bad football team.
Draft. They're still going to do what they're going to do, and I think they're fully capable of making a deep run.
Absolutely. They're going to get Breece Hall back and things like that. I just felt like if you have an opportunity to add another offensive weapon, do it. If you have an opportunity to add another big-time corner or somebody else, good. But that guy, I wasn't sold on. But also, we got to talk about this, guys. Let's say honorable mention of the losers. And we touched on it a tiny bit, but Will Levis, man, that was awkward. Like, we saw Aaron Rodgers fall, right? I think it was 23 years ago. That was awkward, but now with all the cameras, with the green room, he was the only guy that would have been left in the green room. And he's like, I'm not even going to be here. Right. I'm actually going to go home because I didn't get picked in the first round. That was wild. Uncomfortable.
He said he had a family party to get to the next day.
Sure. Yeah, it was a draft party. They were congratulating him for being picked number 4.
Yeah.
I don't.
He's a cringe, man. He's so cringy.
The memes are the best, though. The internet's always undefeated in this area. They took lots of still shots of his girlfriend, I assume, or maybe fiance. I don't think it's his wife, but there was and she had like her eyes rolling, like pick after pick. and it basically said, well, he's not only going to slide in the draft, he's going to be single here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty damn funny.
I saw a bunch of those too myself.
He's
just a strange bird, man. But I don't know what did him in. Maybe the fact that he isn't very good. Other than that,
I mean, I like him over Richardson though. To fit the Colts.
That was a head scratcher.
At number 4. At number 4.
I like him within the Colts system over Richardson.
Dude, when they drafted Richardson, I agree. He's like, what is going on?
He's more along the lines of the prototypical Colts.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Richardson is going to be a project for whoever.
Well, exactly. And for the Colts, who just got done with the project of, Matt Ryan at the end of his career, they gave up a boatload to get him. And the year prior, they got Carson Wentz. They're not in the project market right now. They're in the we need a sure thing market
right now. Yep.
And for them to pick him was wild. There's a guy I have a ton of respect for. His name's Hung Lei. He was a executive vice president, Hung Lei. Executive vice president for DirecTV back in the day. Him and I have been friends, but he said that Richardson was going to go early, and I disagreed. We all had him.
I didn't have him in the first round. I didn't have him get drafted.
I think he was going first round either.
I didn't think he was going first round, and then let alone I thought, okay, well maybe he falls to a team that maybe comes up out of the second round, late in the first round, and maybe picks him up.
At like the 14 to 16 range.
Yeah, maybe. or even
to somebody that fits him as well.
Sure.
I just don't see him fitting what the Colts do.
I saw Levi Levis, and I looked back and I said, okay, there's an Andrew Luck type guy, not Richardson. Well, maybe they know too because Ryan got sacked 186 times last year.
It was a lot.
They need somebody to run away from the pressure because they can't block anybody.
Well, hell, that draft a tackle then. Somebody to protect and make it so you don't get sacked that many times. That's wild.
I agree.
What was our season finale, boys? This is our season finale. What was your favorite part of the show? Like starting from the beginning, going all the way till now of this season. What was your favorite moment? What was your favorite thing of the season that we talked about? Let's have it, fellas.
I think easily our holiday episodes I thought were pretty good, man. You go back and watch them. The Christmas episodes, the Thanksgiving episodes when Prophet comes out wearing a friggin' turkey ball on his on his head. We had a lot of fun, and it's our season finale. We're gonna be taking a few weeks off, but I just hope that people who watch, they can kind of, relate with us on a personal level and just know that we're 4 regular guys that come on here every week and talk football, and we have a good time doing it, and we like to be entertaining and stuff like that. And I think we vibe with each other well. Yeah. Each one of us brings something different to the program, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe it's been almost a year already.
I know, right?
I'm looking. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm looking forward to the break. There's going to be, like I said, we all got a lot going on in our lives, so I'm looking forward to getting a couple weeks off to recharge and get ready for the season. But dude, it's May already. We're going to be back, and we're going to be talking about mini camp and camp starting before we know it, and then we're going to be back to doing our friggin' breakdowns when I was right about literally every single team that we talked about. Like it's gonna happen before we know it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you need a Tic Tac or do you need a roll of toilet paper for all the crap that's coming out of your mouth?
I don't know, man. I just, like I said, my best moments was in particular was the holiday episodes. I thought they were a lot of fun.
Those were awesome, man. What about you, Slick?
For me, it was when the first time that we introduced the Prophet.
Oh man,
with the fantasy deal, like how we just kind of it was just us 3 for the first 2 or 3 episodes, maybe.
Yeah,
no, it was probably longer than that.
Yeah, because we did all the breakdowns, and then we got into was it week 2 or 3 that he came on?
Yeah, I think it was maybe 2 or 3
week or so.
Yeah, and then how we kind of
and the music
full-time role.
I like the way we did that. Like that was
we we gotta start bringing Prophet back in a segment related series once the season starts, because I just like the theme music too much.
I agree.
The theme music, I just like the surprise, the energy.
Prophet agrees. He just wants to do his segments.
He definitely brought a different dimension to the show.
For sure. And the different. Yeah, I'll save it.
But Prophet, you helped us get through the off season. That's for sure. Because
absolutely,
I think having having four personalities on here during some slow months,
slow times. Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, the producers knew that was going to happen, I guess, because they put that in my contract.
That's right.
You know, they said I had to be a part of the end shows, and I was cool with that.
Hey, I got to listen to the audience. You know, he became such a fan favorite.
Jeff said his first episode, Prophet's first episode, he pissed him off. I can't remember why. What was that about?
Probably I said something about Fields.
Or about the Steelers and the picks, because we kept going against the Steelers. Well, you want to know what? Let's. What were they? 8-8? Or they didn't have a 9-8 or whatever. Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. So.
No.
Sorry, Jeff, I pissed you off right then. I know it.
With his picks, he said.
Yeah, because I know early in the season we didn't really know what the Steelers had, and the way that it was going with Pickett, we weren't sure what we had there, and it definitely wasn't Mr. Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. So I can't even believe that. Seems like 2 years ago.
That seems like.
Are you sure? Are you sure, Jeff, that I didn't piss you off because I said Trubisky was going to be benched in week 3, and he got benched in week 3? That might have been the reason, not my picks.
Nice. Well, what's your favorite, Prophet? What was your favorite moment, man?
Well, I went about this a little bit differently, and I agree with the two guys in front of me, man. They were the holiday shows were great, and Slick, like I said, I was blown away when that music hit too, because I didn't know that was coming like that. That BP had that set up.
That was fun. Me and Drew going back and forth when I was setting that up. Hey man, what do you think about this? That was a lot of fun.
That was good.
I actually thought back on individual segments of each of you guys. And BP, I thought your shining moment was last week, man. Your Mel Kiper, right? I watched that show back this past week, man, and I was rolling. It was great.
That's funny.
And Slick, your moment was the Marcus Peters week, man. The fire that you had under you that show, man. We were
breaking him down.
You were on fire the whole show. Something pissed you off coming into that. Marcus Peters not playing corner the way he's supposed to, and you were on a roll that whole show.
He was on a tear. I remember that one. That was a good one.
I just hate seeing bad football, especially on a professional level.
Oh, I understand, but go back and watch that show, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
That was a great one. That was a great. I remember we got done with that show, Prophet. And all of us were sitting there like, man, Slick lit it up tonight.
Yeah, right.
We were breaking it all that down. That was a good show.
And as far as Slinger, well, let me start by saying at no point in time did I expect him to say me, but I didn't expect him to say him either. When he did his hot shot and it was about him,
that was funny.
I was thinking about that too.
When his head was down, like I even go back and watch that one, and his head's down, and then he looks straight up, and it's me, it's me. I'm the hot shot.
That was hilarious. That was great. That was, and let's face it, I mean, hell, like Slinger, we all bring something to the table. It's all different and all, but none of us are unknowledgeable. Well, is that a word? Unknowledgeable?
I feel like
it is now. If it is now.
If
it isn't, it's our word.
Yeah, it's our word. It's a blitzism.
We said it here first.
I mean, we all bring something to the show to make it great, and without you guys on the side here, Jeff, man, I love you too, buddy. There's no hard feelings ever with anything. Well, except that Diademo clown that one time.
Well, I'm sure he'll start tuning in again once the season rolls around.
He's got to get away from those Bruce Springsteen concerts.
Larry just this on the head, dude. He said Justin Fields being rookie of the year.
I thought about that too, man. But
I got nothing.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
It wasn't Fields being rookie of the year, because I mean that's a mistake. But I got nothing then.
Yeah, he didn't even try. He goes, "Well,
that was so
that's
funny,
all I got."
Bro. That was so funny. BP, man, what do you got?
Man, I kind of went about this a different way too. There's so many amazing moments that we had, and I think that really is such a tribute to the connection we all have. It all started when you really think about it, and it's really. Wow, I can't believe I'm getting emotional about this, but 10 years ago is where it started. It started in a foreign country with meeting Ricky and meeting you, Drew. And then just being able to stay connected the way that we have and to be able to do the show consistently the way we have is special. There's not a lot of connections like that, I think, on Earth. And I think it's really cool that we have that. So that in itself is cool. And then with Prophet, getting to know Drew's dad the way that we have, right? Like this is like normally you meet somebody's dad, you're like, hey, what's up, Pops? Like you kind of get to know him going to your buddy's house. But I got to know Drew's dad by being on the show and getting a chance to talk to him afterwards and just being so pleasantly surprised in a way. Like I wasn't sure like how it was going to go, but Drew was like, no, he's entertainment, dude. Trust me. And we go on, and every single show that we brought in the Prophet with the Willie Nelson braids, that had me rolling. The Tony Three Thumbs with the Nocky, did it all for the Nocky. Like those jokes, like have me rolling. Were awesome. But just getting a chance to do this every single week was cool. Putting together pieces. Drew going on TikTok and having our beefs the way that we would have them. Going on there with. Bringing in the Prophet. We were teasing the show tonight or whatever. That was awesome. And getting to see Slick. You've never done a podcast before. I've done this before by myself. I did this with somebody else, and it was not to throw anybody on the bus, but it was boring. I'm not going to lie. Product was boring as hell. But Slick, when you came on here, you've never done a podcast before, and to see you grow over the last 7-8 months and get comfortable in doing this was so awesome to watch, man. Watching you laugh, watching you get pissed off about Lamar Jackson, watching you bust up Marcus Peters was awesome. And Drew, I love our beefs, man. I love them. I love you coming at me, and I love coming at you. It is fun as hell. I absolutely have loved every second of this, and I can't believe it's been 7 or 8 months like that. Like we did this at the end of July last year. It was our first show together. Mm-hmm. And look, it's freaking May 3rd of 2023. And it happened in a blink of an eye. So yeah, my tutu dance. I can't believe we brought that shit on the show. That's phenomenal. But man,
of course we did. Of course I had to hold my phone up. I didn't get an actual clip of it because
you think I was gonna bust that out?
Listen, just because we're taking a couple weeks off doesn't mean we're not working. So I got some kinks to work out. Our social media is going to get revamped. Our TikTok's going to get revamped. We got some things in the works here, so for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You said Willie Nelson.
That one was hilarious. And then the jokes that followed, if I could remember all of those off the top of my head, but there were so many. I think he's going to throw for 420 yards. Man,
that was a good segment. I mean, there were so many. It was totally fun. It was great.
Well, I think Brandon made a great point when he saw, dude, how many podcasts are there out there? There's tens and tens of thousands of podcasts out there. How many of them are weekly, recurring? Set your alarm by it because you know we're going to be here. Not many, dude. And we didn't go anywhere for 8 months. Here and there. I mean, we canceled a week for the Hamlin thing. We canceled a week when Brandon was out on business or whatever. But for 4 grown adult men who have lives to come together every Wednesday for the sake of the show, man, it's exciting and it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, and not to mention that, like, none of us are in the same state. Not one of us are in the same state as the other one. I'm in Idaho. Drew, you're in New Jersey. Prophet, you're in Tennessee. Slick, you're in Florida. Like, to be able to coordinate what we coordinate, Yeah, we're gonna pat ourselves on the back because I think it's
Sure.
pretty phenomenal that of how we went about
And
this.
that's one thing that that's one of the changes that I talk about coming hopefully this summer is I want more people to see what we do and see the work that we put in and the effort that we put in and how good our damn show is, because as many views as we get, we should still be getting triple that amount with the product that we put out there, because I've seen other shows and I agree. It's not the same, man. It's really not the same. So that's one of my goals going into the summer is to press us out there and get our name out there and get more notoriety.
Absolutely. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. And just think where we started, and we ain't even done, boys. We ain't even close to done. So
no, sir.
I'm pumped about that.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
I feel like that was just a 10-minute long hot shot segment, but
it was. We got to roll with it. We're roll with it, man.
We gotta end it with an actual hot shot.
We gotta end it with an actual hot shot. You're damn right.
I'll go first. My hot shot of the week goes to. We talked about him a couple weeks ago on the show, man. I wanted to give a shout out to my coworker's nephew, JD Dorenzo, the offensive lineman from Rutgers. He didn't get drafted, but he did get signed immediately after the draft as a undrafted free agent to the Carolina Panthers. So he is on his way down to Carolina. Local product, man.
That's cool.
It's good to know somebody that has family in that situation. So best of luck to him. JD Dorenzo, keep your eye out. Hot shot of the week, pal.
That's awesome, man. Congrats. Slick, let's move it to you, man.
I got 2 hot shots. Number 1, it goes to all of us completing our first year together and having a successful show. Like you guys just touched on, like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. We did some stuff that people really don't think about. The fact that all 4 of us in 4 different states, like we don't get a chance to sit down and go over everything together. It's through text, or either phone calls or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, it's text. And the fact that, and my hats goes off to Drew and BP, OG. I know you guys are more hands-on with the whole putting everything in place. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you guys actually put the time in throughout the day away from your jobs, family, whatever the case may be, to make sure that everything is on point for us to have a good show. Like, I salute you guys for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not easy. It ain't easy. It's not easy. I salute you guys for that. I
appreciate it, man.
You're like you said, you're just
as big of a part, man. Yeah, you're just a bigger part of it.
Exactly. Just remember,
my second hot shot goes to. Oh, my bad. My second hot shot goes to the missus, her cousin TJ Luther. He got picked up by the Jets free agency, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, that's cool. That's badass.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Really cool. That's awesome. Coach Tease, I love that you listen. That's awesome. I always follow you on Twitter, all the stuff that you post about your girls' basketball. Love that you're
Coach
just as big of a part of the show.
Did I see that? Did I see that, Rick, on Twitter? Your girl's a golfer?
Yeah, she.
So maybe she could teach you.
I have an athlete. So whenever we drop a seed, he's gonna be a 4-star, 5-star guy. Yeah, I'm an athlete. Yeah,
no
or
doubt.
she's gonna be a 5-star, 4-star girl. Yeah, I got an athlete.
I had no doubt. What do you got, Prophet? Who's your hot shot?
Well, just remember, Slick. Heavy is the hat that wears the crown. The heavy is the head that wears the crown, well, not the hat. Okay.
Damn it, Prophet. All right.
And as time goes on, we're going to be wearing crowns. Okay. I got 2 also, and real quick. Every week during the season, I yell out to you guys, and because without you guys here, there's no show. To the Blitz Nation. And my second one is to Nell. I don't know Nell's last name, but she's a cashier or whatever she does at the local grocery store. She's celebrating her 93rd birthday.
Oh, wow.
Today.
That's what's up.
Yeah. She's still working 5 days a week, 6 to 2. And she works at the self-checkout line. So anytime, nobody is ever held up there because this little woman, I mean, she's all of about 4'10", and she's running around helping everybody. God bless her. 93 years old, still working 40 hours a week. I mean, hell, I have a problem picking the horses for 40 hours a week. Yeah. But to the nation and to Nell.
That's awesome.
Cheers.
That's awesome. Cheers. Oh man, boys. I got two. I obviously I'm going to stick with that trend. First one is honestly to you guys. I know we've shown each other a lot of love right now, but I cannot reiterate this enough. From where it started, from a simple reach out to Drew and Slick, hey, is this something you guys would be interested in, to what we have now 8 months later, is phenomenal. Prophet, it wouldn't be the same show without your segments. It really wouldn't. So hats off to you guys. I love it. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see what the future has for us. And then secondly, I have to give this up to my daughter, man. She has got this eye of the tiger this season in soccer, and the way that she is playing defense has been just, I mean, I tell her to go play defense and she D's somebody up like she's in the box in the NBA, like pulling on jerseys, getting in front of people, looking at me afterwards like, yeah, that's good. She stole the ball from a girl over the weekend, kicks it in the goal, comes running over. Yeah. So it is so fun to watch her continue to grow in soccer, and she's going to be doing that for a while. So I got a hats off. Berlin, you make my life so pleasurable. I'm so proud to be your dad, and it's so fun to be your coach, watch you play soccer. So cheers to you guys, and cheers to my daughter.
Cheers.
Yeah.
BP, it was real easy, man. I just went back and found this. Hey,
Is that
I
the
wanted
first
to
text?
That's the first text to me on Facebook Messenger on July 7th, 2022. Hey, I wanted to reach out to you and see if you'd be interested in partnering with me on a football podcast. You have a great football mind, little did you know, and think you would be great to shoot the shit with every week. There you go. Talking NFL once a week. Let me know if you're interested, bro. And I said, I am, but I would just need an outline for the show a day before so we could properly prepare. And how quick that went by the wayside, because we are shooting from the hip most of the time now, boys. And we get on at 8:50. Yeah, I remember the first show we were on at like 8:30. We're like, oh man, this is gonna be great. We're gonna go here, and now
the way
that
I kind of went,
it's friggin' 8:57, and we're like, shit, is he coming tonight or not?
Oh man, rushing, man, from soccer
Yeah,
practice.
our pre-shows have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter, man. It's like,
I think it's just how we found the groove, though. Like, we found the groove, we found out what works, and then there's no need for that half hour before, because we pretty much have an idea. Prophet, you texted earlier, I think it was yesterday, hey, what do I need to know? And then, of course, Drew's ribbing me right immediately, talking about the Niners and all that stuff. Funny. So, of course, man. But Jeff has a great question here. Of course, is some much-needed information. So when do we start up again? It's probably going to be towards the end of July again. We'll have to coordinate schedules again, but that's about the time that preseason football starts to come back on, and we'll kind of map it out with doing the, kind of, we might do it a little bit different too. I don't know if we'll go into depth and break down every single team the way that we did.
We'll figure that out.
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll go division by division. It was kind of what we did last time, but maybe at a higher level, and just kind of have some more fun talk about it. But yeah, I would say probably by the end of July, first week of
July 19th, maybe July 19th ish.
Sure. Yeah.
And then who knows, man? Good.
I'm sorry. My contract says I'm set to start back up August 23rd. So, yeah, whatever the hell you guys.
My contract says I got a wife that's got 3 months left in her pregnancy that's due around the end of July. So. Yeah, we'll see. But July 19th stood out to me. We'll talk about that. But you never know, man. There might be some big news, some big breaking news, and we all of a sudden got to
pop on the show. Yeah,
we might throw one together. But it's been fun, man. I'm absolutely really excited, man. Thank you.
Yeah, one of us may finally figure out where Hidden Valley Ranch is located.
Where's
on that note, hit the outro music. Hit the outro music.
Now I want to know. I'm never going to know where Hidden Valley Ranch. You want to know why? It's because it's hidden. See you guys in July. Maybe August.
We'll be back.
Maybe in between. But we will be back.
Peace out.
See you guys. Thank you guys. Blitz Nation. Appreciate you.